Now, we all know also who bears the greatest burdens of the jobless recovery, with communities of color suffering higher rates of unemployment in the African American community. It's reported, it's what, 16.7%. I know it's 25 to 30%.
Yeah.
Higher rates of poverty, again, in the black community, as an example, over 27% of African Americans live in poverty. And there's a widening gap in household wealth. The Pew Research, I'm sure you saw the results of that study, showed that African American wealth, the wealth gap now, 20 to 1, $5,000 net worth. So when you just look at what is taking place in one part of our community, one part of our country, one segment of the African American community, the net wealth and the income gap is growing, and $5,000 net worth. So every effort that we mounted to ensure that we have equity in terms of people of color, in terms of the African American, Latino, and Asian Pacific American communities, all of those gains are being eroded behind some of these horrible backwards, unprogressive backwards, that's what they are, tax policies of the Bush administration. So we need some serious investments in job creation to help turn things around. We need to help finance these vital investments and put our nation back on the road to taking back the American dream. And so we need progressive tax reform. And we have to have a much more progressive tax code.
Yes.
Under that progressive tax code and with those rates, the economy grew. This is way back when, if you can remember those days. Living standards rose and we grew the American middle class. And I was reminded that in the past, the super rich were taxed. This was in terms of paying for World War II, about $5 million at 94%. And as recently as 1980, the super rich were taxed at around 70%. Corporate rates used to be higher as well. The difference is that business owners used to really consider this, mind you, patriotic. Their patriotic duty to pay their taxes. Their patriotic duty, so that we can all build a stronger nation together. And so what I think that's taking place now with the Bush tax policies is quite frankly, and those who support those, is quite frankly un-American, and it's wrong.
Yeah.
Un-American. It seems for far too long now, patriotism has really been replaced by personal and corporate greed.
Right. Yes.
Today, corporations that made record profits by laying off thousands of Americans and shipping our jobs overseas are now coming back to us begging for a tax holiday.
Yeah.
So we need reform because, again, today's loopholes continue to create incentives for companies to offshore American jobs and to pay executives outlandish amounts. I mean, our tax dollars are too low. So that's why I'm glad, again, IPS is working on several measures, but I wrote a bill with IPS that will rein in the most flagrant pay at the top and provide incentives for corporations to bring up pay at the bottom. And I just want to mention this bill. It's H.R.382. It's the Income Equity Act of 2011. And that was set, if you know about that bill, help us get co-sponsors for it. Because it would set reasonable limits to the tax deductibility of executive pay. What my bill would do, and this is really something until I got into the weeds of this stuff, it was mind-boggling. That corporations, our tax dollars are have to pay for these huge executive bonuses and executive salaries. And so all that this bill would do would be tied their deductibility, the deductibility of executive compensation to a ratio of 25 times the pay of their lowest paid employee.
Oh, yeah. Right on. Right on. That's good.
Now, they can pay whatever they want to pay. We're just saying you can't deduct any more on your income taxes, you know, if you pay any more than the rate of 25 times that.
Oh, right. Right on.
So that is H.R.382. It's called the Income Equity of 2011 Act, and we work with IPS and other organizations. So please help us build co-sponsorship support for that. Now let me be clear, we're not setting any caps or limits on what a company can pay, as I said, their executives, will just stop those companies from passing the buck to you,
Love
to
it.
the American.
Love it.
We can do more to use the tax code to encourage companies to do the right thing. Not only can we tie the deductibility of executive pay to a ratio between the highest and lowest paid employee at a company, we should explore the possibility of directly linking the corporation's overall tax rate to the gap in pay between the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
been looking at that.
Yeah.
Just
Right
have to figure
on.
out how
Wow.
that would work, but we're working on it.
Wow.
So we have to explore all the possible ways that we can shape the tax code, and we have to be creative, but it's got to be fair, to promote more sound, long-term investments in building up our economy and creating more American jobs. The time for reform is long overdue, but now really is the critical moment to help take back the American dream and restore some sense of economic justice, right? Some sense of economic justice, because right now there is none. There is none. Through progressive tax reform. So we need your help to do that. I'm so proud of the work you're doing and that you're here beating the drum. Keep up the advocacy, keep up the fight, and more than ever now we need street heat. We say, and we can say, and we must denounce the policies of corporate greed, and we have to talk about corporate greed very clearly, and policies for the super rich that are continuing to allow them to get away with ripping us off. So we have to demand that the super committee and the administration take up progressive tax reform so that every American in every town and in every city across this great country can have their chance to take back their American dream. Thank you again so much for being here.